anti-vaccine and rabid Trump-supporting cartoonist Ben Garrison unfortunately has contracted coronavirus. And I say it's unfortunate because you don't want anyone to suffer, but it's particularly bad for those who are against vaccines. And Garrison is in fact against the vaccine. Now, he claims that he thinks he picked it up from a restaurant. He says, yes, it's definitely COVID and we've had all the symptoms. My wife and I went out with a couple to a restaurant and the next day all 4 of us were sick. One of us went to see a doctor and was told that she has COVID and that was the clincher. Okay, so they've got COVID, awful, I hope they get better. But here's where things get even more dicey. We've been taking ivermectin and various vitamins, including a lot of zinc. Now, ivermectin has not been proven. There's no data indicating that ivermectin, the human dose of ivermectin, is gonna do anything to help you with COVID. Unfortunately, some people who can't get a prescription for ivermectin are now resorting to getting the ivermectin that's formulated for livestock, which is a much higher dose, and now people are dying as a result of that. There were 2 cases recently, which is awful. Now, he also has a different secret weapon that he shared with his followers. The cartoonist also notes that he's been taking beetroot juice, which sounds delicious. None of this has been proven to treat or prevent COVID-19, with monoclonal antibodies and vaccines being the only real ways to fight this pandemic, which is still raging in many parts of the world. Now, let me note, monoclonal antibodies have been shown to show some progress, like that's good. But it's not something that's like readily available to everyone. And if you are lucky enough to have access to it through healthcare, keep in mind that insurers have stopped covering the full costs of coronavirus treatment. So one of the best ways to protect yourself, both health-wise and financially, is to get the coronavirus vaccine, but this guy does not believe that to be the case. And then one final amazing statistic that I want to share with you all. I'm going to the very last graphic here. We're now seeing the political divide on vaccines play out in real life, and it's actually incredibly heartbreaking. So in counties where Donald Trump received at least 70% of the vote, the virus has killed about 47 out of every 100,000 people since the end of June. But for counties where Trump won less than 32% of the vote, the number is about 10 out of 100,000.
So I hear that all the time from right-wingers and sometimes even moderates. Well, it's not just a right-wing thing, it's some minorities are reluctant to take the vaccine stuff. Are some minorities reluctant? Sure, they are, right? But now the jury's in. If you're in a heavily Trump county, you're 4.7 times more likely to die from coronavirus because you knuckleheads aren't vaccinated, okay? 4.7 times more likely. No, that's not a right wing. No, it is. It's a right wing thing. It is. That's a fact now. Okay. So now back to the Beet Juice here. I'm always amused by conspiracy theorists, and so he's solidly one. Oh, the medical industrial complex, which by the way does exist, but in this case, and why are they trying to save your lives? Out of the goodness of their heart? No, to make a lot of money. That's why they're doing it. There, I solved it for you. Anyways, for these conspiracy theorists, they're like, no, the vaccine that almost every doctor on the planet agrees to, that have no connection to pharmaceutical companies, random doctors in the middle of the Amazon, all the way to Punjab, to everywhere. They all agree they're wrong. Some guy who told me about beet juice and zinc and ivermectin online, who I don't know who he is. I have no idea if he's a doctor. And at best, he's at part of the 1% of doctors who think that. That's the guy who's right. But why? Why wouldn't the 99% of doctors be right? They never answer that because they're not that bright. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.